I got my Nintendo Wii Christmas 2007, and I had seen the videos of the N64 kid and was already planning my reaction when I opened up a Wii on Christmas morning, but I actually got it the night before because I thought that my parents had bought it for me after snooping around the Christmas tree and kind of unveiling a little bit of a box that looked kind of like a Wii. But really, my grandparents had gotten it for me instead, and that box was actually a popcorn maker. So it was a double win Christmas for little Alex. I wanted the Wii so badly when it first came out, and I couldn't contain myself, and it became an absolute staple of my childhood as well as the childhood of my friends, and thus I want to go through my Nintendo Wii collection with you all today. Hi everybody, my name is Alex, aka Qualitea, and welcome back to the channel. So I guess when I say I wanted to go through the Wii collection today, I actually didn't know if that was the collection video I was gonna do today. So I was originally planning on not having any more videos until I get back from teaching band camp next week, but then my weekend schedule changed, so I figured, you know what, rather than relaxing like any normal and smart person would do, I'm gonna make a YouTube video instead. So I took to Twitter knowing I could do a collection video because that's not too long in the editing process, what collection video to do, and you all decided to not give me a straight answer. The poll was neck and neck basically the entire time, and it got to be 2 o'clock and I just said, I need to make a decision. And I picked the Nintendo Wii. For whatever reason, that one just kind of spoke to me the most. And also last time I checked, the Wii was actually tied for the top spot alongside my GameCube collection. And then the 3DS and the PSP were just barely behind. Don't worry, I'm gonna do collection videos of all of those at some point in time, but just the Wii felt like the one to do today instead. So yeah, as I was saying, I got my Wii Christmas 2007, and it was honestly the most incredible Christmas gift I could have gotten at that point in time. I wasn't expecting it. I was very fortunate to have a lot of video games growing up. My parents were overly generous with what they gave me, and they had kind of continuously told me that I wasn't getting a Wii, but then my grandparents bought me and my younger cousins a Wii for each of our families, and it was honestly one of the most memorable Christmases ever. For me, I had never seen my grandparents care that much about the whole video gaming aspect of things. They had bought me games before, but this was the first time that I saw them play video games for real, like really get into them. And you know, they played more over the years due to, you know, my pushing and just wanting to try it out, but the Wii was the first time that they were like, whoa, now this is interesting. And I just thought that was so special. It's the first time I remember my whole family gaming together on a Christmas. It wasn't just me and my cousins, it wasn't just me, it was everybody. And it was so incredible. So of course, to start out the collection video, I have to show my original Wii. Now, it's missing a few things right now, like the flap for the GameCube slots is gone. It's actually, oh, this is dusty. I'm not gonna look at that right now. That's really gross. I'm gonna blast that with air after this video. The cap for that is actually downstairs. I just didn't grab it. I had this open when I was streaming Super Mario RPG on Twitch a few months ago, and I kind of left my Wii upstairs and hadn't plugged it in since, but a lot of my other Wii stuff was downstairs. So the flap before that slot just kind of got in there. I won't show you too closely. Don't look. Oh my gosh, my whole Wii is so dusty. Oh, my poor system. Clean your systems, everybody. Please clean your systems. But aside from the dust, my Wii works perfectly well. I've never had any issues with it. This is my original Wii. I, of course, also have like the gray stand for it and all of that. All of the components I still have. In fact, I actually had my original box for the Wii up until a few years ago when my basement flooded. And unfortunately, that and the box to my Wii U got lost in the mess, so we had to throw those out, of course. But still, I'm very fortunate to have pretty much everything that came with my original Wii, and to have it still working. I've never needed to replace it, and I have no reason to ever buy another Wii. I have no interest in getting the little Wii Mini or anything like that. So long as this Wii works, that's all that matters to me. And of course, when it comes to controllers, the Wii Mote is one of the most interesting controllers I think could ever be out there. I have 4 of them, one for each member of my family and an extra one. And of course, it's got a little sticker on it from when I took it to a band lock-in back in the day. And you know, they're fine. I never really got behind the whole Wiimote idea. I never really enjoyed it, but of course when you're doing motion control stuff, it's still the most comfortable thing to do. I couldn't imagine playing games like Wii Sports or Wii Play with just a normal controller. So these functioned how they needed to function. And I don't know, Nintendo has this thing about trying to innovate every time they make a new console, and I mean, this was definitely it, alongside the motion control, of course. But I don't know, I think the Wiimote will just always stick out in my mind as just a weird main first-party controller, but I don't know, I love it. I unfortunately don't have any cool Wiimotes. They're all pretty much the standard ones. The only one that's different is I have a Wiimote with the Wii Motion Plus inside, which we'll get to in a second. This I bought after Skyward Sword came out because I just, well, I'll show you the Wii Motion Pluses right now. So for specific games like Wii Sports Resort and Skyward Sword, you needed to have these little dongles on your Switch called the Wii Motion Plus. This was supposed to fix a lot of the motion issues that were just a part of the standard Wiimote, because even though you could calibrate the Wiimotes, they still weren't ever perfectly accurate, and the Wii Motion Plus was supposed to help with that. Did it? I guess. I mean, kind of. I don't know. I could never really tell a big difference, but I always just used the one with the Wii Motion Plus inside instead, just because, one, it wasn't awkward looking, and I don't know, it's a normal Wiimote. This added a little bit of extra weight and it looked weird. It looked really weird. But I do have two of these, one that came with Wii Sports Resort back in the day, and I think we just bought another one because we needed it, so. Now, another important aspect of the Wii controller, as you saw, the Wiimotes don't have a joystick. The nunchucks. Now, these are also just very strange, and were not super comfortable to play with. It's not like Joy-Cons where you can kind of just lounge and hold them how you want because you're attached by a cord. So I don't know, I mean, they served their purpose. I much rather preferred having a joystick than not having a joystick, but even then, it only kind of worked. It only kind of worked. And of course, for old time's sake, just combine the two. The whole set. It's so funny, working with the kids that I do, the Wii to them is like how almost the SNES and N64 was to me. It was like, oh, well, my older siblings or my older cousins had it, so I played it a little bit, but I never had one of my own. And I think that's really wild to me. Now, to go along with the Wiimotes and a lot of the actions that you're doing in a lot of very motion-based games on the Wii, there were a lot of different peripherals to go with the system, such as tennis rackets you could attach to your Wiimotes, golf clubs, stuff like that. And I never had any of those. My parents knew that they were just kind of cheap and didn't actually do anything. But these two are some that I think anybody who had this game on the Wii just couldn't get enough of. They thought it was the coolest thing. And that is the Wii steering wheel. Of course, this is the Mario Kart Wii steering wheel. This is the one that comes with the game if you got the whole big set. But we also have this off-brand one, which is just kind of an empty piece of plastic. But the cool thing about this one came with like a holder that you could like suction cup onto your table. I don't think we have that anymore. I have no idea what happened to it, or if we do, it's down in the basement, which it's too far to go get. But that was kind of the cool thing about this off-brand one, but we never really used that part because the suction cup didn't work. I feel like this is just such like a core memory when it comes to the Wii. It was even replicated on the Switch, of course. I have a few very tiny wheels for Mario Kart 8, but this is the original one. This is the one that kind of started that idea. I'll be honest, I actually never thought that this was super duper comfortable. In fact, let me put a Wiimote in it. So here it is with the Wiimote inside. In the back, you just put the wrist strap through there, because you don't really need it while you're playing Mario Kart, otherwise you won't be able to move, and then yeah, it just kind of snaps right in there. It's very, like, it's fun, it's very fun, but I never liked the B button for some reason. I don't know, it just always felt very weird and wasn't very good for my wrists, so I don't know. I love the fact that it's a thing that happens, but had it not been for just the hype surrounding the Wii and all of the motion control aspects, I never really would have done tilt controls on Mario. In fact, I didn't even know that you could play Mario Kart Wii with a nunchuck until like years later. Years later, I had no idea. So I suffered through tilt controls for a really long time. And you know, once I realized there were alternatives, I just never went back, so the wheel kind of just didn't get used ever again. Now, I feel another aspect of the Wii that you don't see with a lot of other home consoles is the Wii, I feel, had a disproportionate amount of accessories to go with it. I remember walking into Best Buy, GameStop, all of those different places, and seeing just Wii accessories just all over the place. Carrying cases for your Wii, things to decorate your Wii and Wiimotes with, all of these different accessories to put on your Wiimotes. Like, it was just kind of bizarre for a home console, and I have a few of them. Mainly, I have our big Wii travel bag. Now, this came with us on so many trips to Florida. I can't even believe it. It's really cute, actually. The zippers are Wiimotes, which I always thought was really, really adorable. But yeah, and of course it's got kind of the blue that was associated with the Wii at the time. It was a nice bag. I remember when we first got it though, we think it was used because it smelled like cigarettes. And that cigarette smell, let's see, does it still smell like it? No, I think it's been in my house long enough, but it really did smell like cigarettes pretty much up until I went to college, which had been like, I don't know, many, many years after we got this bag. So I don't know. Yeah, so it's got a lot of different slots. So you have your games up here that you can put loose games. Your sensor bar goes right here. The Wii console itself would go in here, but there's a bunch of stuff in here that I'll pull out in a second. Your Wiimotes and nunchucks go in this slot right here. There are actually little pockets that you can kind of push them into too. It's a nice size case. Like, there's a lot of space in here, and there are zippers on the outside too, which there's nothing in there. There are no secrets in there. But yeah, so this was always our go-to. Rarely did we ever have to take our Wii traveling because it seemed like everywhere had a Wii, but we would take it on family vacations and stuff, so we always had something to do as a family at night. So I have very good memories of carrying it along like that. Now, there are many, many, many secrets inside of the main pocket, and they all are the same kind of deal. Silicone covers for your Wiimotes. Some of these are gross now that I look at them. Yeah, these just kind of came with Wiimotes. These are two of the standard ones for just normal sized Wiimotes. They don't really do much. I think the purpose is so that the Wiimote doesn't slip out of your hands if you have sweaty hands, because there are like grips on this and stuff. But even then, that didn't really stop people. They were also kind of just a pain to get on and off, so we just took all of ours off. Oh, and then I have another plain one. This one is not as yellow. Look at the difference. So this has to be one of the early ones, and this one is extremely yellowed. This one came with, I think, our Wii Motion Plus remote, so this one's nice and clear. Also, speaking of Wii Motion Plus, we have two extra long ones that fit the Wii Motion Plus, obviously, right here at the bottom. So what you would do is you would put the Wii Motion Plus in, or at least this is what I did. You'd put the Wii Motion Plus at the bottom and then secure that in place, then stick the Wiimote on top, so you'd plug it in the sleeve because it was way too hard to just assemble it and then put it in the sleeve. I don't know, these were weird. And then I have one more, which this was a kind of cooler one, I guess. It was a heat changing one. I doubt that works anymore. Just purple and pink. And it had a cover for the nunchuck too. The nunchuck one changed colors significantly more than the Wii one ever did. So I don't know, but also just kind of strange, but we have them. These existed all over the place. There were different colors that you could get. There were ones based on characters. There were actually Wiimotes based on characters or for other things. And I feel like those happened more towards the end of the Wii life cycle, going into the Wii U. But still, in order to spice up your Wiimotes, these were an option, so there you go. All right, enough with accessories and stuff like that. Let's get into the games. Remember, this is the Wii collection of a child. I did not have my own income, and I only got games basically when I was allowed to get games, or holidays and birthdays and stuff like that. And I was still very new into buying and collecting games, I feel. I didn't really even know what collecting super was at this point in time. So I had an okay DS collection, I think. My Game Boy Advance collection was meh, but this was the first system that I think I really kind of went hardcore with alongside the DS. The DS continued, I think, for much longer than the Wii did in my mind, but I wanted every Wii game. Did I get that? No. Are all of my Wii games good? No. But it's still my childhood collection, and that is what matters. But actually, before we get into those games, I do want to do what I did for my DS collection video, and just give a shout out to the game that was lost. This time there's only one game that is missing from my collection that I owned previously, but it might be one of the most heartbreaking. and that is Dokapon Kingdom. Now, to tell a short story, which I can't remember if I told in a recent haul video or not, I used to take returnables back with the person I was dating at the time in order to go buy video games. And myself and the person I was dating at the time walked into GameStop looking for a $20 game. The people at GameStop recommended us Dokapon Kingdom, so we thought we'd give it a shot, and we fell immediately in love with it. The campaign aspects, the role-playing but board game aspects. It was the most incredible multiplayer experience I had ever had, while simultaneously being the most cruel. And so I had that game, $20. Nobody had heard of it. I spread the news all around to all of my friends, lent them the game while I went to college, and I never saw it again. And I was disappointed, of course. It's never fun when a former partner or friend takes your games that you lend them. But to me, I was like, oh, I bought it for $20 at GameStop. No worries. I can just buy it again, right? Right? No, the answer was no. I was never able to buy Dokapon Kingdom ever again because for whatever reason, after I bought it in 2014, it shot up by hundreds of dollars. Now, I don't know what Dokapon Kingdom is going for now, especially since there's a remake out on the Switch, but I still don't think it's anywhere near my price range to rebuy it. Last time I checked, it was around the $200 mark, which is just, ridiculous. I didn't have the original box or anything. It was just in a GameStop box, but I loved that game. I hope that maybe it's somewhere in my house. Maybe I just misplaced it. Maybe I didn't lend it to them, or maybe they did give it back because they claimed years later that they gave it back, and I just don't know. I just don't know what to believe anymore. So rest in peace, Dokapon Kingdom. I will miss you, and I will continue to enjoy playing you on my Switch, mourning the loss of my copy on the Wii. But now we move on to the games that I do still physically have, and the first one is not very exciting, but it is The Price is Right. I think some childhood friends actually left this at my house a long time ago and just never, ever brought it back. I don't think we played it. I don't know. I was a big fan of The Price is Right growing up. I used to watch it with my grandparents all the time, but I don't remember anything about actually playing this one. I think it was pretty much the same as the DS one and all of the other ones that came out, which I did play the DS one, but I don't remember this being anything too incredible, as a lot of game show games were on the Wii. Nothing was ever too remarkable because they were all just games based off of the game show, which I feel like the Wii did pretty darn well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't remember much about this game, but it's The Price is Right, so what else is there to really know? Next is another shovelware kind of game, Chicken Little Ace in Action. This is another game that was not mine. I think this was a cousin's game. Again, that's the thing with Wii games. Everybody had a Wii. You didn't know whose games were who. So I'm sorry, cousin, but actually I think, or maybe this was a present from that cousin. I don't know. I don't remember. This is another game I didn't really play. I think I started it and then got sick and never played it again. Because for those who don't know, I have really bad issues with motion sickness, and not a lot of video games are super duper conducive to that, especially action-y kind of games or platformers, and I'm gonna guess that's what this game is. If anybody knows, Chicken Little Ace in Action. Is this your favorite childhood game? Let me know. But regardless, this was in the garage up until recently when I was bringing in DS games and Wii games. I almost left this one out there because I have no desire to ever play this, but I brought it in because, you know, even these weird little pieces of childhood collections are still a part of the collection, so there it is. This is another one from the garage. SpongeBob SquarePants Creature of the Krusty Krab. Now, I loved Battle for Bikini Bottom. This was one that I did actually buy and own and intend to own. But I loved Battle for Bikini Bottom on the GameCube. I still really like that game. This one did not have the same kind of effect that Battle for Bikini Bottom did. And honestly, I do think it was because of any motion control aspect. You have moments where you're using the nunchuck and the Wiimote, but there was also a lot of like actions to do motion control stuff. Play in 8 bizarre and unusual worlds. And yeah, I don't remember much about this game, but I know I never finished it. I know I didn't really like it all that much. I just did not live up to Battle for Bikini Bottom for me, so I was just kind of like, yeah, it's SpongeBob, so I like SpongeBob, but yeah, I don't know. So I guess we're gonna get some more of the shovelware-y kind of games out of the way, because the Wii had a lot of them, and I had a decent handful of them. Next is Carnival Games, which I feel like any mom that saw the commercial for this game just had to have it, and that was the case for me. We actually played Carnival Games a lot. It's not a good game, but it's just kind of a mini game collection of various, you know, carnival games. And I don't know, it was just one that I thought was kind of fun. It came out on all systems. It came out on the DS, it came out on so many things. I think there's even a Switch version now, which I wouldn't pick up, but it was just one of those weird kind of hits at the beginning, I feel. So I don't know, I enjoyed my time with it. The graphics were horrendous, of course. The game looked ugly, 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 but it was kind of fun for what it is. So I don't mind it. Now I'm gonna do these two together because they are part of the same series, and they are games I never expected to ever once pick up as a young gamer, but I was coerced by friends who really enjoyed these games, and then they kind of became a staple in the household. That's Just Dance 2 and Just Dance 2014. So Just Dance 2 I got first, obviously, because it's the second one. It was before they started doing the whole every year Just Dance kind of thing. And I played this at a friend's house and was like, oh my gosh, this is the most fun game I have ever played. I can't believe I can dance. I feel so cool. And it wasn't even about the game. It's because I thought I could dance, which was also untrue. But this game made me feel like I could. And so that was important to me, and I had to get this game. Little did I know that my family would also really get into it. I'd come downstairs in like the middle of the night and my dad would be playing Just Dance, dancing to the Jackson 5 or Rasputin or something like that. And it was just wild. We played this game for years. Even when I got my Wii U, we still continue to play Just Dance 2. Over and over and over again until my friends for I think my 17th birthday got me Just Dance 2014. This one I think I exclusively played on the Wii U because I already had my Wii U at that point in time. But still, this one had newer hits. It had Moscow, which is one of my favorite little weird songs from the internet back in the day, and just lots of fun stuff. So 2014 was cool. The other thing I liked about Just Dance 2014 is it had more interesting online capabilities, so I could like dance against other players, I think, or like my ranking would go up. And I had this dream. This is the first time I'm admitting this out loud. Every time my parents would go out for the night, like to a party or something like that, and I knew I'd have a few hours to myself, I'd turn off all the lights, I'd put this on the big TV, and I would dance my little heart out in order to try to get the highest scores online in various songs. I wanted to prove to myself that I was a good dancer. Yes, I'm a lanky white girl. What can I do? But still, I wanted to be the best dancer. And I wasn't, but I had a good time. So I don't think I'll ever buy another Just Dance title on the Switch or anything like that, mainly because I think it's really stupid what Ubisoft is doing by just selling empty boxes, so there's a physical edition, whereas you still just have a download code, because rather than having a brand new game every year, it's basically they're releasing expansion packs every single year to expand upon the already growing song roster. And I understand almost why they did it, but as a consumer, I can't condone that, so I will forever live on in the memories of Just Dance 2 and Just Dance 2014, which I just threw on the ground by accident. Alright, this next one is actually a game my mom bought for herself, and it's Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Crystal Bearers. I only ever played a little bit of this game. I think I started it and immediately got motion sick because I believe there's a lot of airship stuff going on at the very beginning. I don't know if this is a very good game. I still haven't played Crystal Chronicles yet. It's on my shelf with all my GameCube games right over there. But I believe this is set in the same universe, if not like a direct follow-up or prequel. I really don't know about this game. My mom saw Final Fantasy, knew it was on the Wii, and bought it because she's a big Final Fantasy fan as well. But yeah, there's 2-player co-op in special areas, so says the back. A great war erupted between 2 competing tribes that led to one tribe's dominance and the other tribe's apparent annihilation. The world has turned to technology, and magic is only used by outcasts called the Crystal Bearers. Lael is one such crystal bearer whose love of danger is about to send him on an extraordinary adventure. I mean, the premise sounds interesting. The premise definitely sounds interesting, so I don't know. People who are knowledgeable about this game, should I play it? Is it worth it, or is it not a good game? Is it worth the motion sickness? Let me know. This next one is another game that made me motion sick. There's a very big theme here with the Wii games. Motion controls, motion sickness. It's not my fault. But I wanted this game for my birthday so badly, and I will never forget. I came home from school and I saw a little green wrapped package on top of the fridge, and I kept wondering, like, it kind of looks like it's in the shape of a Wii game. I don't know, what could it be? And then my mom just kind of threw it at me, and it was Knights Journey of Dreams. I never played the first Knights game, so I don't know why I was so passionate about getting this one, but all of the commercials that I had seen had just made this game look so mystical and so colorful and so cool, which I agree with. I think the worlds in this game are really, really cool to look at. Unfortunately, I never finished this game either because it made me throw up. It's so sad to admit that because it happens so often, but you know what? It's who I am. It's who I am. But I really thought this game was interesting. You get to pick between two kid protagonists, each who are having nightmares and are stressed out about something going on in their lives, and they go on this mystical adventure with knights in order to kind of save Dreamland, I believe, is kind of the deal. But yeah, I really liked this game. I was so sad with how sick this game made me as a kid because I was so excited. I got pretty far in it. I just don't think I ever finished it. I do think I looked up the ending as a kid, but I really enjoyed playing it. I remember as a kid, I would scooter around my basement because we have an unfinished basement. So I would scooter around my basement and just, I don't know, I'd pretend that I was knights, like flying around and stuff. And I don't know, I really like Knights as a character. I like jester characters. I think they're really interesting, but Knights was always really, really interesting to me. I don't know, maybe someday I'll go back and finish this. Maybe as an adult it won't make me as sick, but yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed this one. Now, this next game I put way too many hours in. My Sims. I want to do a whole video on this, or not a whole video on My Sims, but a video on different games from my childhood that were just very strange, but I was obsessed with. I don't know. It's a working title. But My Sims, I was addicted with. I actually never grew up owning any of the Sims games. I played Sims 2 and Sims 3 at friends' houses all the time, and I've dabbled a little bit into the Sims 4, but My Sims was my console entry into the Sims world. Drastically different from Sims. I wasn't expecting that as a kid, but I loved this game. Basically, while you're playing it, you're building up this town, collecting different resources, and just making things. It was a very oddly creative game. And, you know, the dialogue was cheesy. There was no plot. There was no point. But I loved this game more than I could say. I would recommend it. I asked for it for Christmas, and my grandma was skeptical because she knew that Sims was kind of a little raunchy, or it could be raunchy. But My Sims was the perfect child game for me, and oh boy, I loved it. So yeah, someday I'll talk more extensively about My Sims. Next, we've got some standard Wii titles. Of course, the pack-in game Wii Sports. Everybody loves Wii Sports. It needs barely an introduction. I loved this game. As I said when I was talking about my Christmas memories, this was the game that everybody jumped on board with right away. We all made our Miis. We were all bowling. We were all golfing. We were doing all of the things, and it was just, honestly, it really did make it one of my most memorable Christmases in terms of gaming memories, because it was just a moment where everybody was doing the same thing all at once. We were all sitting in the same room, and I miss stuff like that. Rarely did older family members ever want to play games with me, and I think all of us having the Wii and just setting it up together, it was just a really special moment. So I don't know, I will always have special memories with this. The other special memory I have with it is my dad was playing bowling and was not being safe and using the wrist strap and flung the Wiimote backwards, and it dented our wall. We have since patched it, but the memory lingers on. And of course, the only thing that could be better than Wii Sports is Wii Sports Resort. So many more games, the most wonderful summertime aesthetic, which, gosh darn me for not putting this in my summertime's game video. If you want to go check that out and you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's a really cute video, and I am kicking myself that I did not put this in that video because this would absolutely fit. You're on Woohoo Island, you're exploring, you have so many other games you can play. Flying planes, jet skiing, basketball, more bowling. I love Wii Sports Resort, and I wish Nintendo Switch Sports was more like Wii Sports Resort rather than trying to be more like Wii Sports. I think if Nintendo ever wants to do another kind of Wii Sports clone, they should base it off of Wii Sports Resort, because everything else just doesn't seem like it adds enough. Don't get me wrong, I like Nintendo Switch Sports, but I don't think it was worth what I paid. Whereas Wii Sports Resort, back in the day, 100%. 12 sports. 12. You know how many Switch Sports has? I think like 6. So, I don't know. Wii Sports Resort's great. And Wii Sports' awkward little brother, we've got Wii Play. Now, I definitely didn't play Wii Play as much as Wii Sports and the other one that we'll get to in a second, but this was still a really, really fun one. Also has very underrated Wii music of the era. Everybody knows the Wii Shop music, everybody knows Wii Sports. Wii Play had a great soundtrack, and I think it's very, very underrated. But of course, it was just more fun, motion-based mini games to play with your friends and family. Did I get this? Yes, I got it the same Christmas that I got the Wii because it came with a Wiimote. So then I automatically had 2 Wiimotes. And yeah, it was pretty interesting. I especially liked the shooting gallery one and ping pong and like, I don't know. I thought Wii Play was a dang good game. It didn't feel like 1-2 Switch where like it was mini games, but it was more of a bare bones tech demo. This seems so much more fleshed out. And whether or not that was because Nintendo really wanted to prove to the public like, no, motion control is a cool thing that we can do cool stuff with, I don't know, but I thoroughly enjoyed Wii Play, and I don't know, sometimes I get the urge to go back to it, but still, listen to the soundtrack. Wii Play music is really good. And speaking of music, we have the magnum opus, Wii Music. Wii Music sucks. It's so not fun. It's not what anybody expected. If you remember the announcement trailer at E3 of them playing in Wii Music, you'll understand. But did little band geek Alex care? No. No, I did not. I felt validated and seen that there was a music game that was not just a rhythm game, but focused on classical music. And boy, oh boy, did I go hard on Wii Music. I spent days and weeks playing every single song on every single instrument and every single style of music that I could. And then years later, I found more enjoyment of it making ridiculous music videos with my friends. That was honestly, I think the best part of Wii Music was you could make music videos of your performances. So say you wanted to do a jaw harp choir of the Super Mario Bros. Theme and record it, you could do that. And then make ridiculous box art to go with it as well. I think that was honestly the best part of Wii Music. Actually, the mini games in Wii Music were kind of fun too. I really enjoyed the conducting one. There were a lot of like matching the pitch ones that were kind of nice. Like I actually thought the mini games were fun, but the base game, there wasn't really a game. So yeah, I don't care. I love Wii Music. Next we have Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, the very first one. I never bought another Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games game after this one. So this was, of course, Beijing 2008, and I actually really, really liked the Mario and Sonic games. It's not that I disliked them, that I never bought them again, but it's just kind of you play one and you get it. I much prefer playing the Mario and Sonic Olympic games at arcades, just because I think it's a really good game suited for that kind of an environment, but when you're at home, it's just kind of like, it's fun. It's another competing against using motion controls to do various actions kind of game. But I really enjoyed it. I thought some of the games were really, really exciting. You have shot put, you have fencing. Like I thought it was really, really cool to bring so many more sports onto the Wii, because I wasn't an athletic person in real life. This is how I got my fix on sports. This, Wii Sports, anything like that, that's how I felt that I could be an athlete too. So now we're kind of into the cream of the crop of my Wii games, and we're starting that off with Pokemon Battle Revolution, and I loved this game. I didn't grow up with Pokemon Stadium or Stadium 2. I'd always played them at friends' houses, so to have a game that I could finally be like, yes, come to my house and play Pokemon on my TV, it felt really nice. Now the cool thing about Battle Revolution is you could use your teams from Diamond and Pearl in the game and use those as your team and battle your friends that way. And I just always really, really liked that, but I also enjoy the renting Pokemon mechanic too. It allows you to kind of build your dream team without putting in all the grinding effort, just to go through a bunch of battles. But I loved Battle Revolution. I just thought it was so cool, and I was so into Gen 4 at the time that any Gen 4 Pokemon thing you could give me, I was going to take it. I was going to absorb it into my soul. Battle Revolution was just great. I would play this game now, honestly. I really hope that maybe someday on the Switch or the next console, we get another game like this where it's just, yes, bring your individual teams and stuff like that. I know it's a little different, obviously, like, we don't really need it with how we can just battle people whenever, but I don't know. I really loved this format of Pokemon game. It felt like I was really truly a Pokemon trainer battling against my friends, so I don't know. I really loved Battle Revolution a whole lot. Next, we have Harvest Moon Tree of Tranquility. If you watched my most recent Harvest Moon Story of Seasons tier list, Tree of Tranquility wasn't ranked super high. I can't remember if it was B or C, and that's mainly because of the loading times. This game was a lot of fun, and it was really cool to have a Harvest Moon game on the Wii, but there were a lot of issues with this game. The loading time mainly being it, but just a lot of other weird things. It wasn't super engaging, especially in comparison to Another Wonderful Life or Magical Melody, but I enjoyed the characters a lot. I really loved the music, very nostalgic music. And I don't know, Tree of Tranquility was cute. It was significantly improved upon in Animal Parade. So the nice thing about Tree of Tranquility and Animal Parade is they contain all of the same characters between the two of them. In fact, in Animal Parade, even though it has two different protagonists on the front than Tree of Tranquility does, you can play as the Tree of Tranquility protagonists in Animal Parade. Not only that, loading times are better, the environment is a lot better, mechanics are just a lot smoother in general, and again, fantastic music. I also found the story of Animal Parade to be quite a bit better than Tree of Tranquility in my opinion. This is the game that inspired me to start writing fanfiction, if that also shows you more about my childhood. But still, I really did like both of these. Animal Parade definitely takes the cake for me, but Animal Parade wouldn't have existed without Tree of Tranquility, so both pretty darn good games though. See, looking at this next game, it's kind of crazy to know that we're finally done, or at least foreseeably done with this series, and that's New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Back when the new Super Mario Bros. Series was still kind of exciting and cool. I really did enjoy this one, not as much as the one on the DS. That one still takes the cake for me because that was the original new Super Mario Bros. But this one was nice just because I could play on the TV with friends. I also found it crazy that it's a red box. I don't know. As a kid, I was obsessed with that. I was like, that's so cool. That's so Mario. Wow. Wow. But no, it was really cool. I also loved being able to play as Toads, of course. And I found the motion controls worked really, really well in this game in order to, you know, use the propeller hats and stuff like that. That was always the one that I really remember. But yeah, I really enjoyed this new Super Mario Bros. This was the last 2D Mario that I actually really invested a lot of time into. I have New Super Mario Bros. Wii U, but that one was still just kind of whereas this one I was excited to play this with friends. And, you know, I had different files with different friend groups that would come over, and I'm pretty sure I've beaten this game a bunch with a bunch of different people, so just really good memories with this one. But the number one Mario game on the Wii for me is Super Mario Galaxy. Of course, I love this game. It's not my favorite 3D Mario, but it definitely comes second. This was the Mario game that I associate with Christmas the most, because I remember the same Christmas that I got my Wii, going over and hanging out with my older cousins and watching them play this. Mario Galaxy came out in November of 2007, so it was still this brand new, incredible thing, and I just remember being absolutely amazed. The worlds you go to in Mario Galaxy are incredible and beautiful, and I loved being in space. This is another game where the motion controls never once bugged me because I was just so immersed in the world. Everything felt very intentional, the music is gorgeous, oh my gosh. I really love Mario Galaxy. It's a great game. This game also made me sick, but I was so in love with it that I did not care. I did not care. And I loved Sunshine, of course. That's still my number one 3D Mario game, but something about Galaxy just really, I don't know, it meant the world to me. I really don't know. Maybe it is just because of those nostalgic Christmas memories that I have of all of us, all of my older cousins and I experiencing this game together. I don't know. The ones I mainly remember are the very first water galaxy you go to, and I just remember falling off billions and billions and billions of time, getting laughed at, and then having somebody else do it and also falling off. And it was, I don't know, just good memories with this one. I love Mario Galaxy. I'm really glad this is on the Switch. I wish the 3D All-Stars pack wasn't a limited release so more people could experience this game, but I really love this one. Sadly, I don't have Galaxy 2. That's actually one game that I really want to pick up at some point in time on my never-ending hunt for video games to fill out my collections even more, so hopefully someday I'll find it. And you already saw the wheels, but we of course have Mario Kart Wii. Not my favorite Mario Kart. A lot of people really love Mario Kart Wii, and I understand, and I love a lot of the courses. Like, a lot of the courses. Maple Treeway, of course, is great. Coconut Mall. You have a lot of classic standard Mario Kart tracks in Mario Kart Wii, but I think a lot of it's just kind of soured because I didn't know that you could use the nunchuck instead of, you know, tilt controls. Still, I think this was a very integral part of the Mario Kart history. It showed that more can be done with the game rather than just have it be a racing game. Double Dash kind of reinvented it by having 2 characters on the cart at once, but this one you go back to 1 character. This one introduced bikes, it introduced customizing your carts, it introduced playing online with people. Like, this game was revolutionary for the Mario Kart series, and it should absolutely be regarded as such. If I ever do a Mario Kart tier list, you can expect Mario Wii to still be pretty darn high, even if it's not my favorite. Speaking of another series that would be kind of fun to rank, we have Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Now, my memories with Brawl are very special. I grew up with Melee. I love Melee. It's still my favorite, but I adored the heck out of Brawl. Mainly because, not even just for playing Brawl, but I loved all of the different characters you could have in Brawl, and I also loved just playing the music. You know, you could go to the music player. Every single morning before school, I would pop in Brawl into my Wii. I'd go to the music player and I'd play songs like Ashley's Song. I loved that one. I'd play the Metal Gear Solid like Theme of Love or whatever that one is called. I can't remember. And just a bunch of other songs that I couldn't really hear at any other point in time. Like, yeah, YouTube was a thing, but this, for whatever reason, seemed a lot easier to me. And of course, Brawl is a fun game to play. I love Subspace Emissary so much. I wish that we got another kind of story mode like that in a Smash game. And I like World of Light, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, something about Subspace Emissary was just really cool. It made me feel like I was really going on an adventure here, and I don't know, I thought that was very fun. I never really played the story mode in Melee, so this was my first time really experiencing something like that. I know a lot of Smash people don't super like Brawl, but I really, really did, so I loved it. And another big series, Animal Crossing City Folk. I also loved this game. I put a lot of hours into City Folk back in the day. It was very quickly overshadowed by New Leaf and New Horizons for sure, but I still really, really liked City Folk. I enjoyed the idea of going to the city and just having a different area to go to within your town. I enjoyed Wild World. I got City Folk and Wild World at the exact same time, but I was more inclined to play City Folk because it was the newer one, and thus led to me giving my Wild World to my cousin. That's all in the DS collection video if you want to go watch that, but but still, I really, really enjoyed City Folk. It's definitely not my favorite Animal Crossing by far, but the music of City Folk is so nice. I love the city music. I love just all of the things. I enjoyed all of the little tiny things you could do in the city. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't like a big bustling town that your villager was going to, but there was enough that made me as a kid feel like I was really going on an adventure. Like, I was really taking my person on an adventure. I also think a lot of my friends had City Folk too, so like going over to their towns and seeing them with their little silly me heads and stuff like that. I don't know. That's kind of the general feeling with the whole Wii collection. It's very nostalgic. I've been very nostalgic for that era of gaming lately, the Wii DS kind of era, as you can probably tell by this collection video and the last one I did, but still, like, I don't know, City Folk was a really, really good one for me. I don't really think I'd ever go back and play it. I actually played it semi-recently, and it told me how long I had been gone, but how long was it? I don't know, I might have posted on Twitter or Discord or something, but it had been a long time, and I was just kind of like overwhelmed by nostalgia. And then I didn't have time to play anymore, so I turned it off, but still, City Folk was really nice. I think this game is still underrated. Though it gets more attention now, and I think more people are starting to see how nice of a game it is, I still think personally it's underrated, and that is Super Paper Mario. While not following the same conventions that the original Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door follow, I loved this game. I thought the story was really wonderful and really emotional. A lot of people don't even consider Super Paper Mario an RPG, which I think is fair because it has a lot of platforming elements. I still think it is. I just don't think it's your traditional RPG, if that makes sense. But I don't know, I loved the bosses, I loved the worlds, the music, the characters. There's just a lot of emotion in Super Paper Mario, and I really do think that this was kind of the turning point for the series, and why Paper Mario is kind of what it is now. There's a whole bunch of videos on it. Maybe someday I'll throw my hat into the ring and make a whole video on the series as well, but this was just such a big turning point, and there were so many different hiccups in the development of this game that when it came out and presented the story that it did, even though it didn't follow suit with Thousand Year Door and normal Paper Mario, I still really, really loved this game. So I'm really happy to have this in my collection, even though it's the Nintendo Selects one, unfortunately, but still. I played this for the first time at my older cousin's house and was just kind of like, whoa, This is not the same Paper Mario that I know and have played at friends' houses, like what the heck? But once I played it a little bit more, the same kind of heart was still in it, and it's what encouraged me to keep going. And yeah, I really like Super Paper Mario a lot. We'll go to this one next, my only other Nintendo Selects game, and that is Twilight Princess. I got Twilight Princess late. Really late. And honestly, I don't know why. I had always been interested in Twilight Princess, but I just think that when the Wii first came out, it wasn't my priority. I also don't have the GameCube one either. This is the only way I can play Twilight Princess, because I also don't have the Wii U version. But I really like Twilight Princess. It's very much so up there. What did I rank it as? S? A? I can't even remember. It's definitely an A, S tier kind of Zelda game for me. I really love the story. I love the atmosphere in Twilight Princess. The music is incredible. The characters are really cool and interesting, and I just love the art style of this game. I know that's kind of a weird thing to bring up as a big point of why I enjoy Twilight Princess, but I just think it fits the theming of the game so well and fits the story so well. Twilight Princess is very much so due for a replay sometime soon, so I'll have to get back into this or try to get a Wii U copy if I can. And of course, another big Zelda game, Skyward Sword. And yes, this is the nice, shiny, holographic one. I love it. I love it. Now, unfortunately, I did not get the big box version of this game that came with not just the game, but a golden Wiimote. If I had, you would have seen it already, unfortunately. I'd love to get it at some point in time because it's a really cool Wiimote and I really like it. But I did have the CD that came with this, and then I was able to go see Symphony of the Goddesses a few years later, and it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. To have the CD, listen to the CD, and then go see actual musicians play it. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. One of my favorite gaming memories of all time. A lot of you know my feelings on Skyward Sword. I have found myself wanting to go back to Skyward Sword more and more recently. I would play the Switch version. I don't think I'd ever go back to the Wii version of Skyward Sword just because the motion controls are, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I'd rather look at it in HD now, but I find myself going back to aspects of Skyward Sword that I really enjoyed. I'm sorry, Skyward Sword, for being so harsh on you all these years, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, the controls are still a big thing to get over. If not for the controls, this Zelda game would be great. It would be absolutely great. I love the story, I love the dungeons, I love the music. Like, there's so much to love about Skyward Sword, but the controls really just made it an aggravating experience for me. Even when I was kind of a young teenager when I was playing this, it just, I couldn't do it. I finished it, of course. I finished it back then. I still need to finish the Switch version, but I couldn't do it. But I find myself, especially after playing Tears of the Kingdom, wanting to go back and play this again. It's still going to have those flaws, like the sky being much emptier than I ever would have wanted it, and even then the controller controls aren't super great, but I think I'm more willing to give it a try again, so still very happy to have the original Skyward Sword in my collection. And last, but not least, my magnum opus that has a very long story to go with it, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles. You know me. I love Xenoblade. I really do. It's one of my favorite series. And yes, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is getting played, I promise. I haven't started it yet. That's a post-Bandcamp kind of deal, but it's going to happen. But this game was horrendous to find when it came out. So I remember learning about Xenoblade for the first time by watching Chugga Conroy's playthrough of it. And I kind of had to stop because I knew it was a game I wanted to play really badly. So I went looking at countless GameStops, countless places online to find whatever I could about this game. No one had it. No one had it anywhere. And the one place that did was the GameStop in my hometown. And you know who bought it? The same person I was dating that I bought Dokapon with. And yeah, they bought it for themselves, which is fair. But still, I was very envious because that was the one copy I had ever heard about. So I was in Ohio babysitting my younger cousins for the week, and I was still obsessed with trying to find this game. So I kind of thought to myself, you know, if I don't have luck in Michigan, maybe I should try to look in Ohio. I didn't drive at the time because I was just a small teenager, but I was about to get paid a lot of money from watching these kids. So I figured, hey, uncle, if I find this game, rather than paying me the full amount, will you just drive me to this GameStop pay for the game and then give me whatever is left over, or whatever more you decide to give me. He kind of laughed because he thought that it was a stupid idea rather than just taking the cold hard cash, but he did it anyway. The last day that I was there, when he was about to drive me all the way back to Michigan, we found a GameStop on the way out of town that had a single copy of Xenoblade Chronicles. The thing about this one was it was actually, so there's still a sticker on it that says pre-owned, but it wasn't pre-owned. What it was actually, it was a reprint that they didn't seal for whatever reason, so they couldn't like actually charge it as a new game, but this was a new copy of the game. So I don't know, it was very interesting, but regardless, I got it. And I didn't get home that night until maybe like 11 o'clock. And I had to go do a band rehearsal the very next day. And I stayed up and played Xenoblade Chronicles until 7 a.m. And I still have no regrets because I fell so in love with this game so quickly. And it's still one of my most favorite games of all time. And I think always will be. I adore the first Xenoblade. I love 3 as well, and I'm really hoping to love 2. But the first one will just always stand out to me as a game that is just so important to me and so just, I love it. I love it so much, and I am so fortunate to have it on the Wii. Like, I'm grateful that it's on the Switch and accessible, but having the original Wii one is just, it means a lot to me, so I'm really happy to have it. That is it. So my Wii collection isn't super duper big or anything like that, but it all means a lot to me. I look at this collection and even the shovelware games, and I'm just like, you know, I'm really glad I have all of this. I'm so fortunate to have had parents that were so okay with me playing video games and were willing to get me games for Christmas and birthdays and stuff like that, and maybe other times on the occasion. But it just, looking at this is just so much childhood nostalgia, and it was at such a like transformative period of my life because it was 2006 when the Wii came out, and it was just when I was getting into high school where the Wii was kind of starting to fade out, but still also kind of continued because of the Wii U. So I don't know, it was a really big chunk of my life when I was playing Wii games and buying Wii games, so it just means a lot to me. I really grew up with this console, and I don't know, that's really, really special. So let me know, what games am I missing from my Wii collection? What are your favorite Wii games in your collection? Or just, I don't know, tell me a fun memory of you growing up with the Wii or getting the Wii or anything like that. It's a weird but very special little console. So yeah. And if you like this video, maybe consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, maybe consider subscribing. We do pretty cool things here, and once I get back from teaching that band camp, I have a month's worth of really interesting, at least I think they're interesting, very fun video ideas coming out, and I'd love for you to be here for them. So yeah, but anyways everybody, until the next one, goodbye!